Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
All right, not bad. Uh,
Hey,
so,
Rob.
it's been a while. What was the last thing we talked about?
I don't know. It's been a long while. Let me find out. PILTCH point dot live. Navigating AI and Google search concerns and solutions.
Oh, okay. No. So we didn't talk about.
Lots of things.
Okay, yeah. We didn't talk about Copilot PCs.
No.
Okay, great. Hold on a second. Because of that, let me get out. I have a lovely show and tell. Let me
Excellent.
see if I have my bag here. Okay. So I have a lovely show and tell. Uh, I have both a Surface Pro and a Surface laptop uh, that are
Nice.
Copilot PCs.
Okay.
So I can show them and I can tell you about the benchmark numbers we have for them and all of that fun stuff. So, um, yeah. So, so we can talk about that.
All right. Sounds good. Let me close up some stuff over here so I don't get any noises during the show.
Yeah.
All right. That's that. All right. Um, Excellent. Yeah, that sounds great. Um, did you see the three that are currently public?
Yeah. We
And
have Amazon to Brick Astro, Wii U End of Life, and Data Dump the Passwords.
yeah. And the fourth one is Paramount Plus is looking for a merger now with another streaming
Again?
service. This time they just want to
Again.
merge Paramount Plus with another streaming service as opposed to selling Paramount altogether.
Oh, okay.
And Max
Whatever
is
works, I
interested.
guess. All right.
So
Okay. That's good.
it it
Yeah.
definitely plays into our whole streaming fatigue thing.
Yeah.
So, all right. I gotta say, it is really strange on my screen only having one streaming destination since live stream is gone. It's been gone for a little while, but it's still strange to only see one destination. Let's see. Let me get this thing updated real quick, and I will be in business. What's today? 7/7?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. I've got everything ready.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't have everything ready. See, this is what happens. Sometimes you forget how the show works. Fascinating. Yeah, that's probably not enough. Oh my goodness. Can't delete that because that's something else. Can't delete that because that's something else. All right. The storage on this computer is starting to catch up with itself. I'm deleting September. It's pretty close. All right. I'm ready if you are.
Yep.
All right, here we go. Oh. This week, Amazon ends the Astro robot, Nintendo ends the Wii U console, hackers end your security, and Paramount Plus ends its independence. It's Sunday, July 7th, 2024, and this is episode 667 of F5 Live, Refreshing Technology, a proud part of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Wherever you are and however you're joining us, whether it be on social media, Facebook, X, or Instagram, through our live streaming services, Twitch, Kick, Rumble, or YouTube, where you can join the community and get ad-free episodes of F5 Live and Pilch Point, plus content as it's edited, or on our website, PLUGHITZlive.com. Thank you for making us a part of your day. There are two ways that you can do that. First is Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can go to f5live.tv/join us. There you can chat with us in the studio, give us your feedback on the topics as we talk about them. Best place to do that is through our website or on Twitch. If you're not able to join us live, that is okay. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows, including F5 Live, Pilch Point, PLUGHITZ Live Presents, and a whole lot more. And there you'll find all of the ways to watch, listen, and follow along. All right, it has been way too long since we've been on personal stuff across the board, but we are back and hopefully better than ever. Abram, how have you been over the last way too many weeks?
Okay, I guess. So much going on. But hey, I got to do something really cool today that you would, in particular, appreciate. So, they recently opened about an hour from my house a retro arcade.
Nice.
And you go so I took my son and we went, and you pay $15 to go in, and then you can play as much as you want. um and they have, like, I don't know, 50 or 60, at least like 50 or 60 machines there, arcade machines there. They
Nice.
have a bunch of old consoles with different cartridges so you could play them. They have like an NES, an SNES, a GameCube uh, there that you can play, and then they have a bunch of pinball machines also. But they had like a ton of old games there. So it was really awesome. We were there for like 3 hours playing, and there's
Nice.
just so much, and it wasn't very crowded either, so we could pretty much play anything we wanted. I mean, not all the machines worked perfectly well.
Fair enough.
They worked, but like the Duck Hunt arcade game, we couldn't get it to start. But they had set up for you a TV, like an old CRT TV, a really old one, like with wood paneling and all that stuff.
Okay.
On the floor, and then like you could sit on the floor and play, and they had Duck Hunt on it and play Duck Hunt. And on above and on the top of the TV, just to give you the feel of where you were, on the top of the TV they had like Pac-Man lunch boxes, a bunch of cassette tapes of like albums from the 80s that you might want, and like a stack of Atari cartridges like Warlords and stuff like that.
Nice.
although they didn't actually have an Atari you could play there, so that was a a missed opportunity. But you know, real. So anyway, I know you have Strike, where you do stuff like that,
Forge.
and
It's new name.
oh, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
Forge, where you do stuff like that. Well, so this is a place
That's
in Long
awesome.
Island called Game On,
Mm-hmm.
where they do that. Um, so it recently
Very cool.
opened. There weren't a ton of people there, so I hope they stay in business
Right.
because it's quite a generous, thing. You just pay $15, and I think there's like a membership where you could pay $40, and then you can come in whenever you want. But but yeah, they had some really just like really fantastic games there. Almost, I mean, there were very few arcade games that I would have wanted to play that weren't there. They didn't
Gotcha.
have Berserk, which I would have liked to see. They didn't have Defender, which I would have liked to see. Um, but they had original Space Invaders. They had Galaga, Galaxian, Tempest, Donkey Kong, several Pac-Mans, uh, Centipede. Uh, so Dig Dug,
Nice.
uh, bunch of racing games. Like, of course, what I really liked, but my son wouldn't play all the way through the game with me, was House of the Dead. House of the Dead 2. Um,
Nice.
I really like those gun games
Yeah.
because you can't, like, that's an experience that's very difficult to have at home. I mean,
True.
I know there's ways of doing it, but it's not easy, right? Uh, so, um, I think there's ways of doing it, but it's not, at home, but it's not easy. So,
Yeah.
we had the
Those
thing where you could just continue. I would have liked to play through it.
the light guns, you can get them, but they're not inexpensive. We just got a couple of them for Forge because we're building our own uh, cabinet for light gun games.
All right.
They are not inexpensive.
Right. Also, I mean, I've seen things where, and I don't know if you call this a light gun use or not, where people can get like a Wii nunchuck, and then you put a sensor on it or something to make it act like a gun.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um,
I've
I don't
I've
know if
uh,
that's a good.
I've done one of
eh,
those. They're okay.
Yeah. I mean, also different ones have different feels that are good. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, if you get one with haptics, that's good. Um, So, yeah, anyway, uh, really, really cool to go. When I go to an arcade, I only want the retro games. I'm not,
yeah.
so it was really neat, and I look forward to going again.
We've just acquired a number of remake arcade cabinets. We've got four of them. NFL Blitz and X Men, the '90s X Men, Marvel versus Capcom, Pac Man on a table, a proper tabletop Pac Man, and then we just acquired a couple of pinball machines, including the Stranger Things one that we saw at CES a couple years ago.
I think they actually did have a Stranger Things. Uh, uh, I think they actually did have a Stranger Things. They actually did have a Stranger Things pinball machine. They might have had Stranger Things at this, even though that would be
Pretty
pretty
modern.
new,
Yeah.
pretty modern. They
So I
had,
think
they
I think
did
we
the,
saw I think we saw that one at CES 2020 right before everything went sideways.
yeah, the pinball machines they had were actually not. They had a whole row of pinball machines, and
Hmm.
the pinball machines were actually not old. I mean, they had pinball machines of Mario, but I don't think they were old. And
Right.
then they had like a Mandalorian one. Obviously, that's not very old,
True.
right? They had a Godzilla pinball machine that had all kinds of like had a screen on it and said that you're fighting different monsters. Although, to be honest, all these pinball games, I feel like it's kind of deceptive because all you're really doing is hitting a ball. So like they keep making it look like you're doing all some kind of great adventure and put up a video screen showing like, oh, now you're doing this and now you're doing that. And I'm like, come on, man, I'm just hitting a ball and trying to keep it from going down this hole. I mean, I like it when it bounces around. I like it when it bounces around and hits things. But, there were times where it would just eat the ball for like a minute to show you a cutscene. Like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you the Stranger Things pinball machine, which is from Stern, who's the same company that makes the Mandalorian one.
Yeah.
There is a mode in the game. So all of them have multiple modes. Just as a note. And when you do the Stern pinball games, never play the standard mode. Always play the competition mode because there's magnets in the floor that can actually change the game on randomness when you're on standard mode. Anyway. Just a note for you. There's a mode on the Stranger Things one, which is just the Demogorgon. And it has become a real problem for me. Like, the whole thing lights up in black light, and you're trying to hit the Demogorgon with the pinballs. And, yeah, it has become a real problem over the last couple of weeks since we got this machine. I had some trouble with it. Like, I didn't want to leave their booth at Unveiled when they had the machine there, and I went an entire hour yesterday at the shop before I touched it, and I'm like, all right, that's it, gotta go play. I have a problem with pinball and Uno, and now I have multiple pinball machines, including one of my favorites, so that's a little bit of a problem.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did have. I'm pretty sure they did have the Stranger Things one there. They had the Deadpool one. They had the Star Wars one. They had the Mandalorian one. So I think they just somebody who to stock this just bought a bunch of Stern pinball machines.
I would say sounds like somebody else is friends with Stern.
Yeah, quite possibly.
One of the things that I really like, I know this isn't quite relevant, but it's been so long since we've gotten to talk. One of the things that I like about Stern is that they focus on like accessibility. Because if you can't pull the plunger back, they've got a button that will launch the ball and stuff like that. Which that kind of stuff I really like. We have some little kids that come in that can't really pull the plunger back far enough to trigger the ball, or maybe
Right.
some older people, or dexterity issues, things like that. So I think it's really cool that they offer that so that more people can actually play the game. But anyway, like I said, it's been a while since we've been together, which means we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. You've got a show and tell, which is always exciting. So probably time for us to get down to it.
Yep.
This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, tablet, Xbox, games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. Remember, current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% off almost everything. To browse the products and learn more about the discounts, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. So we know that Amazon is known for trying some weird stuff when it comes to hardware. The Echo clock, for example, the wall clock, was a weird thing. And of course the variety of microwaves that you can talk to. But probably one of the weirdest things that they have tried has been the robot. The Astro. This was a $2,400 robot that they didn't quite know what it was. Not that they didn't know how to sell it. They didn't quite know what it was themselves. They were very excited about it, but its purpose was nebulous. Was it a security guard? Kind of. Was it a personal assistant? Kind of. Was it a home health companion? Kind of. Was it any of those things well? No. So for $2,400, it was a risky proposition for anybody purchasing it. And right from the beginning, when we had our conversation the week they announced it, we said, no way this goes anywhere. This is too weird. And it turns out we were right. The price point was too high. The company didn't know what the product was. They didn't know how to market it. It never came out of invite-only early access. And this week, through an email sent to the team members running the team, we have found out that work has stopped on the project, and the devices that are out in the wild will stop functioning September 25th. Yes, September 25th. The devices that are in the wild will stop functioning. Now, Amazon is giving a refund to everybody that spent money on the device, whether it be at the $23.50 that it started at or the, I think, $15.99 that it's running right now. Again, still an invite only. They're doing a refund on the purchase and giving you $300 in credit to try and help you on your journey to whatever your replacement solution is. But it seemed inevitable to me that this was going to have challenges. For those who don't remember, the Apollo was a little device with a big old tall like antenna camera thing that stuck off its head, and it could drive around a space and be a security camera. You could tell it to go to rooms using Madam A. You could have it go check on an older relative, but I maintain that an older relative does not want to be surprised by a robot with a camera on its stick showing up. Oh, here it is. Oh, okay. I've always thought that's not the target demo for this kind of thing.
After they have a heart attack, though, the robot will dial 911.
Indeed.
You can look at the bright
let you know that you need to.
Yes.
Just the whole thing was too strange, and you know, there were challenges internally. Them launching it strangely, and then them buying iRobot, the makers of Roomba, and as soon as the acquisition was completed, like when the ink was dry on the paper, they fired their entire robotics team, who were the people who came up with and designed and put this thing out. They were gone, and then they went and hired Panos from Microsoft, who is known for loving experimental devices, and even then they never made a big deal about this product, which for me was a sure sign that this wasn't going to survive, and here we are with it not surviving. What's interesting is the product listing is still available, and you can still sign up to receive an invite to purchase one, which, I don't know, seems like an oversight to me. But I literally checked it earlier today, and it was still up, and theoretically available for purchase. If you have an invite, theoretically you can still buy one, which, I don't know, seems weird.
So I want to show you a little something.
Okay.
A little photo that I took when I was in Taiwan. I'm not even sure if we've talked since I came back from Taiwan. Have we?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I could talk all about that, but that would be month-old news at this point. But since we're on it, I want to show you a little picture because this is relevant to our conversation,
I assume,
about smart home robots. So, what do you see down here in this corner of the screen? Uh,
Uh, yeah, I see a little creepy guy.
Let
I
me
see
get you a
I
closer
see a little
picture.
ET alien.
Okay, here's a closer picture of it.
Okay,
Any recognize what it is? What it is?
is it one of these things?
Not exactly.
Okay.
So here's another one. Here are the small ones. So this was a trip that I made to the ASUS headquarters
Mm,
in Taiwan, and at the ASUS headquarters, they have a whole bunch of things all over the place. Let me So, like you can see, this is sort of like they have this rotunda over here when you come
yeah,
in, and they have all these exhibits of old ASUS stuff,
yeah.
and prominent, including this thing here, which is like a what is this? A like a themed PC that looks like a I don't know. Anyway, um, and so a Nook. Oh, here's some other stuff. Well, that was some other things. But back to, you can see it a little bit otherwise too. Wait, hold on a second. So anyway, um, so consequently, the this is Zenbo. Do you remember Zenbo?
The name sounds familiar.
So Zenbo, these by the way, this is just what it looked like if you're on the second floor of their little rotunda thing. I thought it'd be cool to like. Wait, am I missing some more of these? Somewhere on here, I'll turn this off. Somewhere on here, I'll go back to Zenbo. So Zenbo was announced in 2016, and Zenbo was supposed to be. This is actually, I think, a little bigger than Zenbo was supposed to be. So,
Okay.
Zenbo is supposed to be a smart home robot, check on old people, do video conferencing, take commands. No arms, though. So it sounds a lot like Amazon's robot to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and it was quite impressive when they showed it uh, and they demoed it at CES. It never came out in the United States. Supposedly, it came out in Taiwan, and some people had it, um, but I don't think they make it anymore. And then they came out with like 2 years later Zenbo Junior, which was the smaller one, right? This smaller one here, and this was made like for kids to play with their development or something like that. Although I never saw where it came out. And if you look on their website, there supposedly was a Zenbo Junior 2, which I don't know when it came out. I cannot see any evidence that any of these things is still for sale. Uh, but this is going back to 2016, and they made a really big splash with it in 2016. And then I guess somebody got them in Taiwan, but they never made it to other countries. So, or maybe they made it to another country. They certainly never made it to America. And I
Mhm.
remember someone from Asus telling me, well, one problem is that in America, a lot of people have stairs and they can't go up the stairs. But that seems like a kind of a lame excuse to me. Um, so, I mean, wouldn't they have that problem anywhere? I guess because there's more people living in apartments in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it doesn't. I don't. I mean, I don't know what. I would love to meet someone who actually owned one and find out what they were doing with it. It was definitely quite expensive when it came out. So, um, anyway, that was when you talk about this, it really reminded me of that.
Yeah. The looking at them, like I'm on the website, and the it's a little more expressive. The Zenbo, the face is a little more expressive than Astro. But yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
conceptually they're very similar. Zenbo doesn't seem to have the giant antenna that sticks up out of its head, um,
Yeah.
which
Um,
is fine.
so, I mean, maybe it'll become a collector's item on eBay or something like that. Uh, who knows?
Yeah,
But
that's the interesting thing, right? Because they're going to give money back, but there doesn't appear to be any ask for the device back, which is interesting. In fact, it seems like Amazon is encouraging people to recycle them.
Huh.
So my guess is somebody's going to figure out how to do something interesting with this. There's going to be like an immediate like community hack thing, and people are going to figure out how to do interesting things with this, replace the memory and stuff like that, and these things will probably become real interesting.
I can't find a single place selling a Zenvo robot, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't. I see somebody selling a model of one or something, but not selling an actual Zenvo robot.
Interesting. On their website, they say to contact them for
which
purchase.
which sounds like no. I mean, also, why would they want to sell you something that they haven't updated in 8 years? So it's I don't know. So the concept hasn't worn well, right? These things
exactly.
sound so cool. These things sound so cool. It's like so many other things in life that sound really cool until you actually like dig into them. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you're like, oh, great. Oh, wait. There's a camera, and it's going where? It's going to follow me all over the house? Nope, I'm out.
Yep. I mean, that's that's the I mean, that's really the issue, right? It is like, so what do I need it for? First of all, we have most people who, if you want to have that amount of security cameras in your home, you can do it cheaper by just putting a bunch of security cameras in your home in various spots.
Yeah.
You don't need a rolling robot to do that. If you want to do video conferencing, you don't need a robot to roll over to you to do that. I mean, theoretically, it would be cool as a user to roll around someone's house or office or whatever in a telepresence robot. But I don't know how often you would, after you did it once, you'd probably say once was enough. So, yeah, I'm not. I don't think that they have all the utility that people think that they have. It's a lot like some of the AI things that are coming out that people are like, yeah, everyone's going to want to do this. And then it actually turns out maybe people actually, maybe there wasn't a groundswell of people who wanted to have weird drawings made for them every day.
Right.
Like,
and in that case, I saw a piece this week where somebody said, when you use AI images in your marketing, what you're saying is, we have no budget and we don't care. And I was like, well, that's an interesting, depending on the imagery, if it's clearly AI, I can see how that could be the takeaway from it. So
yeah, no joke. That is definitely the takeaway. So I guess
in this case, legitimately, 2350. I mean, you can go get a bunch of Energizer Connect security cameras for like $49 a piece. You can know that it's Gem Accessories that's making them. It's people that you and I know personally. I know where the data is going. I'm comfortable with where the data is going, and you could get for $23.50. Honestly, their high end cameras are like $59. You could almost own the company. You could buy their entire inventory for $23.50. It's so much money for What? A security camera that can only be in one place at a time? Why do I
Yeah.
want it in only one place at a time? I can get 10 of the Energizer cameras, put them everywhere, and record all of them at once. And have
Yep.
PTZ and have it follow people as they walk through and track from one room to the next if you want. I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of money without any idea of what it was or they wanted it to be. Because they pitched it as three very different things. In the end, they got rid of the consumer side entirely, and they only focused it on business as this weird security guard concept. There didn't seem to be a whole lot of buy-in, and in the end, here we are. See ya. Now, they do say that they want to focus their efforts on the consumer market. It sounds a lot like, Apple with Vision Pro, right? Hey, so we're going to stop working on the Vision Pro 2, and instead we're going to pivot to something far less expensive because most Apple stores are only selling one of these a week. Let's figure something else out real quick. And I feel like that's what happened to Amazon. I think probably there's nobody left on the invite list. And they're like, all right, well, we have 22 of these out in the market. That's not enough to maintain a division. Let's figure something else out.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
with Panos in control, I imagine whatever comes next will be interesting. Like I said, he does like experimental stuff, weird hardware concepts, which is why landing at Amazon made sense for him. But this is just one more product added to the tech graveyard of weird products that have come from Amazon. This week's Pilch Point with Avram Pilch is proudly powered by PureVPN. The best way to protect your privacy online is with PureVPN. You can hide your online activities, say goodbye to regional restrictions, and improve your streaming quality. Plus, it's available for almost all of your devices. You can get a special price and a 31-day money-back guarantee right now by going to pilchpoint.live/PureVPN. All right, Avram, my favorite topics for this segment are when you've got something to show off. And I know you've got stuff to show.
All right. Well, let's talk. So, June 18th, Copilot Plus PCs came out. Do you know what a Copilot Plus PC is?
It's got a bonus button.
Oh, it's got more than a button. So in front of me here is the new Surface Pro, and this is one of maybe, I don't know, a dozen new PCs that have come out in the last few weeks that use Qualcomm Snapdragon X processors, and they run Windows. So this is not the first time or the second time. It's like, I think, the fourth time that we have seen an effort to make a Snapdragon, to make Windows on ARM work well and sell well. And part of that effort is around trying to not just make most apps work, most apps compatible, but it's also an effort to give some special features to folks. So if I log in here, could not recognize my face, I guess because I wasn't looking right at it or I didn't have these headphones on when I did it. So one thing to show here is, so this comes with a few special features, a few Windows features. All the Copilot Plus PCs all have Qualcomm processors. That's what makes them Copilot Plus. They have a Copilot key, no big deal. So does everything. So do all the new laptops. And they have 3 exclusive features that you cannot get on Windows if you have an Intel or AMD processor. However, I don't think these are very impressive. Now, there were supposed to be 4 exclusive features. The first one was recall. Do you remember recall? Do you recall it?
Well, if you've seen any of the Microsoft ads in the last couple of days, they have been advertising recall with uh, no little disclaimer that says it is delayed indefinitely.
Yeah. Uh,
That's the
so,
constantly spying on you feature, right?
yeah. So, so one thing is it. So they had to make that temporarily go away. Whether it's coming back or not, I don't know. Although we reported on Friday, this is kind of interesting. Microsoft is still running ads for recall on uh, Facebook and X. It's running video ads saying, like, here's your digital perfect memory. And it doesn't
Yeah.
say coming soon either.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't say
So,
delayed indefinitely. It's fascinating.
yeah, it doesn't say. So, yeah, that's I think one hand is not talking to the other hand. But maybe they also realize that recall is the only one of these features that actually stands out. You could say that it's a bad idea, but at least it's an idea. Now, here's what the other exclusive features are. One of them is Co-Designer. Let me show you what Co-Designer is. So, Co-Designer is in Microsoft Paint because that's where we look for all of our key features. Co-Creator. I'm sorry, not Co-Designer. So, I don't know why there's noise here. So if you see over here on the side, ooh, I got to move it aside a little bit. Uh, the so if you look there, it says co-creator, um, and if you and if you and if you and if you tap on it, right, it then gives you this menu, and it touts that if you draw something, it'll help you with your drawing, but it doesn't really help you, right? What it does is if you draw, you have to draw something, but it could be a line, right? Draw a line. And then you have a prompt here. And what would you like it to prompt it for, Scott?
I don't know. You put me on the spot.
Okay, what I always prompt it for, this is my demo prompt, is cat driving a car.
All right. So Tune says, got it.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Toonses. Toonses is my prompt. So you can see it's sort of going and going. Maybe it's finished now. It's really very stark white on this white background, and there's no car. Here, can you see even? It's a little bit.
We have the widget menu
I don't
now.
like that the widget menu popped up. Okay, it's very annoying. So if we full screen it here, you can see the co-creator cat. It's
Yep.
just that's all you get. So that took like I don't know 8 to 10 seconds to draw. It's not exactly what I asked for, and everything looks kind of like that. It's like a watercolor type of drawing on a stark white background. Now, one thing to note about this co-creator is that it doesn't work offline. Now, you might be thinking, wait a sec, isn't that the whole point of these systems is that they don't require an internet connection to do generative AI?
That was my first
Well,
thought.
they it is apparently using the NPU to do this work, but and I don't think that this makes any sense. So, Bear, you tell me whether you think this is a reasonable excuse. Microsoft or Qualcomm, we asked Qualcomm, and Qualcomm said The reason that it will not work offline is because it has to check your prompt to make sure that you're not asking for bad stuff, that you're not asking for, adult content or racist
Sure.
content or whatever you want. Except I don't really buy that, because couldn't they have those guardrails built on locally?
Of course.
Um, and also, I won't show you here, but the guardrails don't work so well. Like it was more than willing to like draw a concentration camp for me, for example.
Oh
So
my.
it so I mean, it wouldn't. There's things it wouldn't draw, but there's definitely a lot of things that it would draw. Uh, so so then also there's another button right here called Image Creator that sits right next to it, and guess what? It does the same thing, except you don't have to draw a line. You could just enter your prompt. And I'm going to show you that the cat driving a car looks a lot better. And wait, there's more. This other feature is in every version of Windows 11. So I mean, so you don't need this. Sorry, somebody seems to keep calling me. Go away. There's nobody. All right. So anyway, if I do, so I'm going into this image creator, right? And I'm doing the same prompt, and I'm going to show you what happens. Oh, you know what? I'm out of tokens. So there is a limited number of tokens for some reason that you get, and for some reason the tokens on this account are used up. So I can't do it. But it's photorealistic cat driving a car, and it spits it out in the same like 10 seconds. But there is a limit to I think, and I'm not sure whether it resets periodically. But that feature, Image Creator, which works better, is not an exclusive feature. So two more exclusive features to talk about now. The other exclusive feature, so we talked about Co-Designer, and I'm sure you were very impressed. Then there is also live captions with translation. Um, Now, for those who don't know, Windows 11 already has live captions for everyone. And that means that if you are using a service, a streaming service that does not have I was going to say, using a streaming service that does not already have captions in it, Windows will put up a caption box for you if you want. And with Copilot Plus PCs, they also can translate that into another language. So that is the catch. That is the benefit. However, they do a terrible job. I was trying to watch a video on Bilibili, which is Chinese YouTube like channel, and the translation was totally off. So that's terrible. Would that be a selling point for you, Scott?
No. A
Okay.
terrible universal translator? No.
But even let's say it worked properly, like how many times do you need that and not have it from the service that you're already using?
Yeah, true enough.
Like most services already have some type of translation in them if you need it, and already have captions if you need it. Finally, the last piece is studio effects. So what does studio effects do? This will be tough to show on camera, but I'll do my best. So what studio effects is it is wait, now is that all right, but that's not telling me. Studio effects is a series of, it also should be here in the okay. So if you can see here, there's like this list of effects here. It's background blur, which you get a choice of two different kinds of background blur, and then creative filters. And like the creative filters can sort of make you look rotoscoped a little bit. And that runs locally. But here's my question to you. First of all, the rotoscope features, who cares? Does anybody use those? And background blur, which a lot of people do use, is built into pretty much every chat program that there is already. So, did you really need that? I don't think so. So, those are the exclusive features. I don't think they're a selling point at all. But what could be a selling point is these are offering decent performance. They're about on par with an Intel Core Ultra 7. Uh, they are better at some things, uh, although not everything. I mean, I think like on Handbrake, they were about a minute faster than the Core Ultra processor. Um, and they are, you know, and they have good battery life. But even the good battery life is not so good that it will blow you away. Uh, this system right here, which is I think it's got like a 52 watt hour battery, gets 12 hours and 10 minutes on our test. Uh, that's good, but it's not record setting. We've seen many Intel systems get over 12 hours. Uh, this 15 inch 15-inch Surface laptop here with the Snapdragon X Elite processor gets about 15 hours of battery life. And we've seen others that got about 16 hours. So you're getting maybe on a laptop with a reasonable size battery of like 57 to 60 watt hours, you're getting maybe 15, 16 hours of battery life on our test, which is continuous surfing over Wi-Fi at 150 nits. So now what? There are, that's better than most Intel laptops get. There have been very few that get up into that 14, 15-hour range. Asus did have a ZenBook a few months ago that hit about 15 hours with an Intel Core Ultra 7 processor, but with a larger battery. So it is good battery life, but I think maybe you're getting at best, 2 to 3 hours better, which is nice, but I wouldn't say it's groundbreaking. It's not better battery life than MacBooks. MacBooks are up there getting like 17 hours, although they have bigger batteries as well. So I don't know. I mean, I think this is a good technical achievement in the sense that these have pretty good compatibility with Intel with x86 software, although there have been games that don't run, and there's still a lot that needs to happen to improve compatibility, but most things run reasonably well. So but they're not cheap. None of them is cheap. Uh, the cheapest one you can get, the cheapest Copilot Plus PC of any brand, is I think the 13-inch entry level Microsoft uh, Surface laptop, and the 999 version gives you 256 gig SSD, which is unacceptable. So expect to spend at least $1,100, $1,200 or more on one of these laptops. So you're not getting a big bargain for going with the Snapdragon processor. So, meanwhile, Intel and AMD are going to have new processors coming out soon that have much better neural processing units in them that will be competitive with the NPU in this thing. So I'm not sold that you need to buy one of these, but it is a nice step forward technically for Windows on ARM.
Which, of course, is a good thing, right? Sometimes we have to have products that may not necessarily matter in the short term to push the overall technology in the long term, right? It's when the Windows on ARM first came out, I remember your frustration level being pretty high with how little they were able to do and how long it took to accomplish that nothing. So I have distinct memories of you
Yeah,
growling at a laptop that you were showing. You're like, mm. So to hear
yeah,
you say that it's
yeah.
come
I
a
mean,
long way is a great sign.
It is. It's a good sign. It's come a long way, but let's consider this. Um, it's still a gamble. You're not
Sure.
getting a discount for taking this gamble. So, and you're getting a little bit more battery life, but not an epic amount more battery life. So my 2 cents on this is, if you really like the individual laptop, like you look at this Surface Pro and you're like, wow, that thing looks really nice in the blue metal, and I really like the way, the look and feel of it. And you could consider getting it and not let the processor be a total con, to stop, be a blocker for you. But but I wouldn't buy one because it had the Snapdragon processor. It just doesn't. We're not. There's not a lot of workloads that it really benefits right now. Perhaps more in the future. But then if you need a new laptop and you can wait a few months, well, we're going to be seeing new AMD laptops with faster NPUs within a month, and we're going to be seeing new Intel laptops with NPUs within probably 3 months. So that's that's the story. But it's an interesting time. I think it will be more interesting when you looking down the road a year or two, if Microsoft lets the exclusivity agreement with Qualcomm expire, and then you can see laptops powered by different ARM CPUs that might be a lot cheaper.
Hmm.
So, I think there's a lot of room to grow at the low end of the market, and that is not being talked about at all, right? I mean, we used to get sales data, which unfortunately can't get access to anymore, for what the average laptop selling price was, and almost every quarter for years, the average laptop selling price was between $490 and $520.
Hmm.
So there's no answer for people who want to spend less than $1,000 with these chips.
Yeah, and that's definitely unfortunate. I'm sitting here on the configurator, and hey Microsoft, once again, why can I not get the 15-inch in blue? Just
Right.
mm.
Yeah.
always my contention with them. The full size ones only come in black and gray. I can't get the blue or the dune, sapphire or dune. Is what they call the like
Right.
copper looking one. You can't get that in the big one. Anyway,
Right.
that annoys me, but that's a whole different issue. Well,
Yep.
I imagine you've got a lot more information on this.
Yep. Yep. So indeed, we do have more information on this. My concentration really has been writing about the performance,
Mm-hmm.
rather than, we've got like five of these laptops lying around, and we haven't done an individual review for any of them yet, because like I'm more interested in trying to sort of pick apart things like the battery life. And the one thing I won't belabor our time here about is I've had a really rough time getting local AI workloads to run on these, because Qualcomm's developer center is really not up to date. I mean, they're working on it, and I've actually talked on a call with some of their Qualcomm's developers, but they have what's called an AI hub for developers, and then most of the stuff there that's in the AI hub can only run as an example, and you can't actually program with it.
Hmm.
And the reason why this matters for my testing is, I want to write a Python script that does the same thing on an Intel powered laptop
Mm-hmm.
as a Qualcomm one. And so I've managed, with some help, to have two instances, two working models. One, which is Whisper, the transcription model, I can have running on both, and Stable Diffusion image generation, I can have running on both. But I cannot figure out how to do any others. And those are the things that actually, in my opinion, should matter. Because, granted, not a lot of people are sitting there using Python scripts, but the point is, you want to know how is one of these actually better? Is Qualcomm actually faster than Intel's current generation Meteor Lake, which has a slower NPU? Does it actually take a lot less time to transcribe something? Does it actually take a lot less time to generate an image? Would it take a lot less time to do image recognition or facial recognition? Like, how is it faster? How much faster? So that's what I'm trying to find out, and to do it on repeatable local tests, because these little cutesy features that Windows has, first of all, they're not really benchmarkable because they're just cutesy and there's not really something to time. But second of all, you can't even use them on Intel machines, so you can't do an apples to apples comparison. Right. So that's kind of the subject of a lot of annoyance and work on my part the last couple of weeks.
Fair enough. Well, I know as you get this stuff figured out, you'll bring a lot more content, as you always do. That's you like to do these deep dives and bring us lots of information, especially on interesting new technology like this.
Yep.
Well, Avram, definitely appreciate it, because this was a topic I was not able to follow very closely over the last couple of weeks. So I definitely appreciate the dive into this hardware. And as always, I look forward to what we talk about next time. This week's Extra Life on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by EXA. EXA brings the latest technology to gamers, offering the most immersive products for the ultimate gaming experience. They've compiled the best elements of cutting-edge ENC tech, the latest in Bluetooth 5.0 and 7.1 surround, plus extra features into their headsets, so everyone can enjoy a sensational gaming experience. And they've got headsets for Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, and PC. Plus, they won't break the bank. Learn more about the headsets that are available and any current promotions by going to f5live.tv/exa. While EXA might offer headsets for the Switch, what they don't offer is headsets for the Wii U, which is the predecessor to the Nintendo Switch. And that is for a couple of reasons. One, the Wii U was not really intended for that kind of gaming, and two, it's pretty old at this point. So much so that kind of the final nail has been put into the coffin of the console that came out so long ago now, in that Nintendo is no longer offering repairs for the console. So, any repairs that need be done will not be official starting now, which means that you'll have to find a local shop like ours that is able to do unofficial repairs through either using dead consoles, parts out of them, or aftermarket parts and pieces. Why is that important? Because the Wii U, despite its controversy and its very divisive nature in the industry, it did have a cult following. Many people still asking about them today, and this does end that generation from Nintendo officially. It's the console that nearly ended the company. They took a big risk on a feature that they really thought was going to be big and never turned out to be big. But the eShop is already gone. All of the online capabilities have been gone for a while, and no longer repairing them really does say that generation is done. Now, here's the thing: this timing is not accidental. We are expecting to hear sometime over the next probably 6 to 8 months official details on the Switch's successor. So the Switch's predecessor finally ending hardware support is not a surprise. Nintendo has all but officially confirmed that the Switch 2 is slated for a 2025 release. And so for its predecessor to be done is not all that big of a surprise. It does tend to be the way Nintendo works, and oftentimes how the other companies work as well, when they're ready for the new one. The previous one, 2 generations back, fully EOLs, with the PlayStation 2 being the weird exception because of some weird thing that was happening in Brazil, that the PlayStation 3 wasn't allowed in Brazil for a long time. But everything okay over there, Avram?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know if there's some noise behind me. Sorry. I'm also near
Okay.
the window. I'm also near the window.
Just
But
just want to make sure.
but but interesting that you when you talk about Brazil, right? One of the really cool things, I think I showed you this the other day, a few months ago, when I was at the Retro Computer Show a few months ago, was all of the Brazilian and
Yeah.
I think Argentinian knockoff Commodore and
Yeah.
Apple computers, because in the 80s there was some kind of law against them, and so they
It
had to have knockoff ones.
so it continued. So that is the same thing that prevented the PlayStation 3 from ever releasing in Brazil until almost the PS4 came out. So the PS2 was the gaming console in Brazil because it, for whatever reason, I don't remember all the details because it was so long ago. It was like the beginning of this show. It it existed in Brazil forever because for some reason it wasn't affected by whatever laws continued on. So the PS3 wasn't allowed in, but the PS2 was. So Sony had to continue making the PS2s up until the PS4 came out, which was wild.
Yeah,
But yeah, other than that, normally, you know, support ends, not just manufacturing, but support ends before the next one comes out. So that is a good sign that we are likely to start hearing more details or any official details about the Switch 2 in the near term. We've seen some renderings that look like they could be official. They have, if they're real, they're pretty streamlined. The device looks pretty slick, if they're real. But, you know, it ends a very rough chapter in Nintendo's very long history. The company was founded, if I remember correctly, in the late 1800s. They made cards and card games for most of their existence. And, you know, they have almost never run profit losses except when they were being affected by this. So it's a really interesting time. Some cool stuff came out of that era. Mario Kart 8, right? Which is still the standard, came out for the Wii U first. And then the 3DS and the Switch. Somehow we have not progressed past it, but that's fine. Uh, but they struggled to ever get third-party developer support, even though developers thought that the tablet was an interesting game aspect. The thing that it always meant was that there was an imbalance in play because you can only have one of them. So there was an imbalance in play between player one and the other three. If the tablet was involved,
Right.
it made remote media stuff interesting, though that none of that works anymore because again, online support has been gone for a while. It was an interesting concept. We have something similar today in the PlayStation Portal, which is essentially just a modernized version of that concept, which is fascinating that here we are a decade later and PlayStation has built the Wii U. But yeah, dark time for Nintendo, though there are some really, really big fans even today. So as we always say at the end of a support era, no matter what it is, if you like it, keep it in good working order because it's going to be a whole lot harder to get any kind of official support starting now. But the good news is that when official support ends, aftermarket support starts heavily. So there will be aftermarket chips and things like that will start coming out. So your local shops will probably be able to help you maintain those devices.
It's a weird thing. Like this was not a very popular console, but yet my son, who never had one, seems to think that it was like a really breaking device. And when we went to the retro gaming festival, the thing he wanted to see most was a Wii U.
They're an oddity, right? In the grand scheme of things, the 3DS might still be the top selling device, gaming console ever, right? I think it's the 3DS. And then at the same time, you have the Wii U, which only sold 13.5 million units worldwide. I mean, right. that is abysmal, right? The device was out for quite a while, 13.5 million units. I think the Xbox One and PS4 sold that in their first 6 months, at least. It just not great. So it makes it an oddity, and it was an oddity that it had the screen and the motion controls and all this, things that were new. And in fairness, if it wasn't for the weird flop that was the Wii U, we wouldn't have the Switch. Because the Switch is just the natural evolution of looking at it and going, oh, well, that was stupid. What about this? And we have the Switch, which has been a huge success for Nintendo, right? So it was this weird middle ground between the Wii, which was popular and groundbreaking, and the Switch, which was popular and groundbreaking, which, has inspired Valve and Asus to come out with these Windows and Linux-based clones, essentially, right? Everybody's chasing the Switch when it comes to portable gaming. But it just was this weird middle child that didn't conform to either, and nobody wanted. But without it, we wouldn't have the Switch, and we wouldn't have the Steam Deck, and we wouldn't have the Ally, and all of these cool devices that are out now. We wouldn't have it if the Wii U hadn't come out and been weird and kind of hated. So it is a groundbreaker. Yeah, he's not wrong. It was groundbreaking, but it was groundbreaking not exactly for the reasons that Nintendo had hoped that it would be. But it was inspirational to a whole new era of portable gaming. So that is cool, and we appreciate it for sure. But it's definitely now officially into the history books as far as Nintendo's concerned. This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, plus it actively blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, trojans, spyware, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. Speaking of privacy and security, on the 4th of July, the largest data dump of clear text passwords ever hit the internet. It contains more than almost 8.5 billion passwords or something like that. No, almost 10 billion passwords, which is the largest collection since its big predecessor in 2021, which had 8.4. That's where that number came from. So 1.6 billion added in the last 3 years. Now, it's important to note that the majority of this data is not new data. This is existing and known data from multiple breaches all collapsed into one. This is not a database of full credentialing. This is not username and password, email and password combos. This is a clear text list of just passwords. Obviously, the initial question is, well, then who cares? You should. Here's why. With password stuffing and brute force attacks, a database like this gives a great starting point for passwords to try. Many systems use an email address and password combo. Email addresses are very public because you have at some point sent an email, and so therefore it has become public because that's how email works. You have also likely signed up for anything ever, and therefore your email address is out there and available for purchase. So you take the email address, and now you have a database of passwords to try. It prevents all of the brute force having to cycle through. If you can start with known content, it speeds up the process for most breaches. So what should you do? Well, first, we have a link to the Cyber News password checker. You can put your password in. This is the security research firm that found this file in the first place. You can see if your password is in this and any other breach documents, and if so, go change it. If it's not, technically you're safe for now, but a couple things you should be doing. First, you should be using two-factor authentication on anything that you can possibly use it on. Yes, it can be a real pain in the butt, but it does drastically limit the possibility of somebody being able to use your public email, your now potentially public password, to get into your email, your banking, any of that. In addition, two-factor gives you a lot more control. I always recommend a hardware piece. Mine is just off camera over there, behind the camera. I use YubiKey for everything that I possibly can. I can use it on my phone. I can use it on my computer. And then you don't have to deal with... There's one. I knew you were going to grab one off your desk. I'm a big fan. We've been friends with YubiKey for a very, very long time. I have those. I have the low-profile ones. They're great.
So it so happens that I got a bunch from YubiKey a couple of weeks ago, because I'm going to do a story, although I've been distracted with this other stuff, but I
Yeah.
promise I'm going to do it this month. Uh, a story on security keys and and which ones are the best ones, and
Hmm.
so they sent me a whole bunch of theirs. And one thing I was really surprised to learn um, was that they have one here. This one here is NFC,
Hmm.
right? And I was wondering when I got it, like, why on earth would I need an NFC security key? Well, I think the reasoning is you could use it with your phone,
Hmm.
which I don't think most people think about having another factor for things on their phone,
Yeah.
right? They just assume that if it's on their that on their phone they don't need that factor, but on their
Right.
PC they need a factor, which is often their phone, and that's annoying, and that's why people use the security keys.
Right.
Now, personally, I prefer uh, this type of
The
form
low
factor
profile one.
uh, because you can leave it in. Uh, you can leave it in like if you're on a laptop, you could just leave it in there, and they have a Type C one and they have a Type A one, right? And you can just leave it in there and you don't when you put it in a bag or whatever,
Yeah.
you don't have to disconnect it. Whereas these longer ones are either kind of made to be carried on a keychain, which I think is
Right.
annoying, or if you're plugging it into a USB hub on your desk, then sure, that's fine. Um, if you're leaving it there. But I was kind of like one thing that was kind of education for me is that people could actually use NFC
Hmm.
for it, um,
Yeah.
which is great. So
We have,
people now,
if you go over to plughitslive.com/ces/2023, you can find our YubiKey. There's also a link in this article. You can find our YubiKey interview. I think it's about 2/3 of the way down the page, and we actually talk about all the different ways that the technology can be used. I think it's 2023 that we had that conversation. But we always love to talk to them. Their products are super cool, and they do add security. If I remember correctly, there's a Lightning compatible one. There's the USB-C one can be used with USB-C phones, or you can use the NFC on phones that have NFC, which is pretty cool.
what I'm curious about is, do any laptops still come with NFC? There were a couple. I never hear about it
Mm-mm.
anymore. I don't think
Nope.
they come with it anymore.
No. We did Sumo did 10 years ago, 8 years ago. God, we closed our office a long time ago and we were still in the office. Anyway, we did a thing with NXP on NFC for computers, trying to find interesting and viable uses for it on a laptop. And
Yeah.
we developed a prototype for a card trading game that we thought was pretty cool. You could trade between computers. You could trade between computer and phone. Think Pokemon, but physical trading. We didn't have blockchain at the time. That would have made the whole thing a whole lot easier. But anyway, yeah, and that was when they were trying to make it a thing. It was a real short-lived feature, from what I could tell. Which, as somebody who's a
Right.
big fan of NFC, that made me sad. Pair,
Yeah.
being able to pair my aftershocks. They're not called that anymore. Shocks headphones just by tapping it to the laptop would be awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so definitely check and see if you are in this and any other database. You should do it regularly to see what your what's the word I'm looking for? Your surface area of attack is wider than it should be. There are some services built into some of your devices that do it. Apple has it on the iPhone, but they don't check as many data breaches as Cyber News does. So you can go to Cyber News, see if your password has been breached, and if so, get away from it. Choose something else. It'll definitely help you out in the long run, because last thing you need is somebody being able to get into your, say, bank account because you didn't know that your password was already available. And it doesn't even have to be your account that was breached. That's the thing. If you've used a password that somebody else has, you're still vulnerable to a brute force attack using this data dictionary. So definitely check. Protect yourself. Get away from passwords that are a problem, and also have a good, strong password strategy. Either unique passwords for everything and use a password manager or something like that, or at least have a 3 or more tier password structure that you can change quickly if you need to. So anyway, if anything else comes of this, we will definitely let you know. But as always, protect yourself online best you can. This week's DRM Not Included on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Amazon Prime. We all know that you get free shipping on millions of products with Amazon Prime, but you get a whole lot more. Like free music with Amazon Prime Music, free TV, movies, and documentaries with Amazon Prime Video, free games, and a free Twitch subscription to support the content creator of your choice with Amazon Prime Gaming, plus a whole lot more. We've got links to all of these features and some of our favorites, plus a 30-day free trial, all by going to f5live.tv/prime. All right, it's another week and another opportunity for Paramount to be in trouble, or try to figure out how to get out of the trouble that they're already in. Over the last couple of months, there have been continued looks into how Paramount and its ecosystem can right the ship. A number of months ago, there were some discussions about selling the entire company. Those discussions are apparently still on, as the former chairman, I think, of the company, before Sumner Redstone bought the company years ago, is interested in buying the entire company away from the Redstone family. But right now, the newest discussions are around trying to save the biggest of the sinking ships, which currently is Paramount Plus, the company's streaming service. It started out as CBS All Access. It expanded once the newest merger of CBS and Paramount happened, which has gone back and forth over the years, and it was renamed to Paramount Plus. It has struggled to get major traction. They've done some partner hooks, including if you sign up for Walmart Plus, you get Paramount Plus, the bottom tier included, and none of it has quite worked. None of it has made it the profitable streaming service that it needs. We've seen them cut programming, most notably Star Trek Prodigy, that was well into production on season 2. They canceled and then deleted Star Trek Prodigy from Paramount Plus, just like overnight, one night. They're like, oh yeah, by the way, bye-bye. Fortunately, that found a new home on Netflix, which shows just how much trouble Paramount Plus is in, when it made more sense to give a Paramount-owned property to somebody else. Which, by the way, season 2 is out now on Netflix. Anyway, the current talks are that Max, which has also seen its share of issues before the Discovery merger and everything coming together and increasing its content. Max is interested in a merger of the two streaming services, a la what Disney Plus and Hulu Plus have started doing over on the Disney Plus app, where you'd be able to get the content from both companies in one destination. As far as Disney Plus and Hulu Plus are concerned, they're both Disney owned at this point, but this would allow both content libraries to be available through a single subscription on a single platform. The other possibility is they've been in talks with, and the quote is active discussions with other media and tech companies. So there's a possibility that maybe another tech company might be interested in co-ownership over Paramount Plus. They could take on some of the technical aspects that Paramount and CBS and Viacom have not ever quite been great at. We saw the struggles with the Super Bowl on Paramount Plus. The technical aspect has not been their strong suit. So maybe a tech company would be a good partner, or maybe another content company coming together. Basically the way Hulu originally launched, right, which was NBC, ABC, and Fox before Comcast owned NBC. The three of those companies came together to create Hulu because none of them wanted to go it alone. Since then, Fox has become part of Disney, and NBC became part of Comcast, and Comcast sold their stake in Hulu to Disney. So now Disney is entirely in charge. But, that started as a partnership. So the concept does work until ambitions get bigger than the relationship, which is Peacock. But anyway, Max and Paramount Plus coming together could be a good partnership. Max is kind of the only service that I don't currently have, I think. I have everybody, including Paramount, because, Survivor and Star Trek, if I'm being honest. But, combining those would make sense. Possibly Paramount and Peacock, two of the smaller ones might make sense. There's some interesting potential here, but it does seem to me that company is in some serious trouble, Avram. That, like, every time we hear one of these things, that is my takeaway.
Yeah, I'm really not happy. I'm really not happy about what's happening with Paramount Plus. I'm a Paramount Plus subscriber, and I'm concerned that that they are going to go down the tubes, and that is a shame because the I really like the Star Trek shows that they have on there,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna be sad if they all are canceled. I mean, obviously we're already lost a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Discovery's last season has ended, um, and Lower Decks this season will be its last.
Right.
Which I'm sadder about that because
Me too.
that's just such an excellent show.
Yeah.
Uh,
That was everything
Brave,
I ever wanted in an animated Star Trek. Like,
yes, yes,
forget the rules. Here's what we're gonna do.
yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. This is yeah. So I'm sad about that. I don't know why they needed to can. Well, I know why they want to get rid of their shows. So, but that one is really frustrating because that's something that is really like special for streaming, right?
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't. I don't feel like Lower Decks is something that you could put on like network television.
Agreed.
Um, Although now all Star Trek is streaming, but I'm just saying like they couldn't. It's something that they would have never had on network TV, and
Agreed.
now um, So now what does that leave us with? Strange New Worlds, which I like, but and is supposedly going to have at least one more season after this one, and then we have the Michelle Yeoh Section 31 movie,
Movie.
and I think there's supposed to be a Starfleet Academy show,
Yep.
but not sure what whether that's gonna. I mean, so I don't
It's
know
still
if they have to.
it is it's 100% still a go. They talked about it on Star Trek Day this year.
Right. So okay, so we
And then you
have
have
some things, but it looks
and
like
then you have Prodigy over on Netflix, which I really liked the first season. I haven't had a chance to see the second season yet because, well, we haven't had a show for quite a while for a reason. It's been a crazy time here. So
yeah.
I haven't even dived into season 2 yet. But season 1 was so good.
Right.
But that's less under their control now because it's on Netflix because they canceled it and threw it away.
Yeah. Yep.
There's no telling.
Yeah. So who knows? It's so I don't know. I think they can't survive on their own.
Yeah. And hopefully,
So I
if they
guess let
can,
them merge with somebody.
yeah, if they can figure out some partnership that makes sense, that allows them to focus on what they're good at, which is content, and not try and build a streaming business, which they have proven is a struggle for them. That's not their area of expertise. Maybe there's a tech company that can take on that aspect. Maybe there's another streamer who's already doing well enough that together they could be a powerhouse. Max makes sense. Peacock makes sense to have discussions with. I think a partnership with either of them. Comcast is doing real well with the streaming side of things. They may not be able to put the business together, and their content library is not the best, but Paramount is, right? You've got strong tech on Peacock because during the Olympics, you're not going to lose streams on Peacock the way we see with the Super Bowl on Paramount. We didn't see the Super Bowl crash Peacock. They've got the tech side down. Paramount's got a strong content library. Those two already have a relationship because a lot of, especially like 90s and early 2000s sitcoms for NBC were produced by Paramount. Right. Yeah, the new Frasier is on Paramount. That was on NBC. Right? They've got a strong relationship and a strong history together, so that might work. Max makes sense because that's the whale that keeps swallowing the ships as it is. So there might be a way to let somebody else deal with this stuff that they're not good at, and they can focus on the stuff that they are. That could be good for everybody.
Yep.
But there's no telling because they've been trying to figure out what their next step is now for a year, it feels like, at least. We've been talking about mergers, acquisitions, full company sales, and nothing's come of it so far. But who knows? This might be the one that ends up working out for them. Only time will tell. Well, that is our show. Thank you to those of you who joined us live. We always appreciate our live viewers. We had some people over on Twitch chatting with us tonight. We always appreciate that. If you didn't and would like to in the future, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, f5live.tv/join us. If you're not able to join us live, that's okay as well. PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you can see all of our shows, F5 Live, Pilch Point, PLUGHITZ Live Presents, and a whole lot more, and find all the ways to watch, listen, and follow along. We are currently in the process of adding video over on Spotify. You've currently only been able to listen to audio over on Spotify, but we're working on bringing the entire video catalog over to Spotify as well. It's a slow-going process, but expect to see all of our shows in video format over there. I'm very excited about that. Also, we have brought on somebody doing social media for us. So engage. We've got discussion topics going on and a whole lot of cool stuff that we're trying over there. Facebook, X, Instagram. So do us a favor and engage. Let us know what you like, what you don't. We're also working on spinning up a Discord server where you can chat about the news during the week, give us topics that you think would be interesting for the show. We're working on spinning all that up right now as well. So lots of things going on, lots of new content. You might even start seeing some new faces around, or possibly some old ones as well. So lots going on right now. 2024 is a bit of a transition point for us, and we're very excited about it. So keep an eye out for all of that. And with that, on behalf of the staff that's not here, I'm Scott.
I'm Abram.
And we will see you back next time. Ciao.